achieving, as we call the goats. So he's the goat in branding and marketing, a guru specialist. So with us today, we have the honor and the privilege of having Dr. Thebe Ikalafeng. It's an honor to have him here. He's the founder of Brand Africa and Brand Leadership Group, among many other great initiatives that he has done. And he has been conferred his honoris causa PhD with both the University of Johannesburg and the University of South Africa. And he has achieved lifetime accolades. The list is on and on. So with us today, we have really the honor of having the legend in person. And I know that this will be a fascinating episode. Welcome to our program, Baba.
Thank you so much, man.
So we are really honored to have you here and really looking forward to draw from your fountain of wisdom. And as we all know, our program really focuses on the journey to the top, where we are able to dive into a great African leaders' journey, what really made them who they are, and some of the great advices that they are able to give us. And starting with Doc with us today will be just for us to understand your background. I think for us, it's really looking at what you have achieved and even going through the material. We just want to understand exactly the setup and the upbringing of Dr. Thebe.
Well, my upbringing, thank you so much. My upbringing is typical. It's typical of many South African children born under apartheid. So I was born and raised in the township. I lived with my grandmother because my mother was working as a nurse, training and working as a nurse in different parts of South Africa. So I lived with my grandparents, which was also a bit typical as well.
Yes.
Typical for us growing that time, that you, even if your mother was in the same town, you'd be living with your grandparents. So I lived with my grandparents. I did all my formal, my primary studies in Kimberley, the capital of diamonds. So
exactly.
It doesn't show it today, but who is supposed to be the capital of diamonds? Because I come from there.
Yes.
So, but I'm thinking we are the diamonds of Kimberley. So we're the ones who can bring the shine back.
Wow.
So I was born and raised there, and I went to school. That's in Boniface. And I left there in 1986. Wow. To come to South Africa, to Johannesburg. Yeah. How does it Joburg in South Africa? It gets me in trouble with everybody else. To come to Johannesburg, to study at Wits, and I left Wits. After 2.5 years, and I moved to the States to go complete what was supposed to be my accounting degree.
Wow!
And then when I arrived there, a friend of mine said. He said to me, Tlanta, he's late now, Tlanta Khadeb, says, why are you you're in America as well? I say, yes, of course. He says, what are you coming to do here? So to finish my accounting degree and go back home. In 2 years, he says, what's the rush? Relax. He says, besides, you're not an accountant. So you're more like a marketer. So take your time, relax, and study what looks natural and feels natural to you. And then you can go home with something in your hands. There's nobody here who's going to judge you because they all don't know you.
Wow.
And that's sort of my brief starting point. And I went to school I've never heard of.
Wow.
And I think I learned as time goes that it really doesn't matter where you go to learn or where you go to play. It's what you do with what you got out of there. So I went to a school called Marquette University, a Jesuit university. What's interesting that when I found it as a Jesuit, I'm like, wow. So I went to Catholic primary, Catholic crèche, Catholic primary, Catholic high school, Catholic university. So that's where I got my entire upbringing, my teachings.
Wow.
I did my undergraduate and I did my MBA a long time ago.
Wow. No, I know, a long time ago.
Like 35 years ago, I think.
That's
awesome. A long time.
A long time
right?
ago, yes. And really, if we would like to bring you a bit back, because especially your conversation with your friend, as you wanted to pursue accounting, and he said, no, we can see the natural flow of marketing. And if you have to trace it, were there anything as you were growing up and very young, because I know that you are always a purposeful person, and were there any sign at that particular moment which was already talking about marketing and branding?
I don't know. If you go with the stereotypical marketing,
Yes.
because we like to say the stereotype of a marketer,
Yeah.
that people think that you're always communicating, always selling ideas, always engaging with people. If you go with that as the template of marketing, then of course I grew up like that. I was in church choir, I was an altar boy, I was always teaching my friends, I was always part of I was always in the midst of people. In the midst of people. So if that's what a marketer looks like, and even when Sibusiso speaks about that, because he met me at Wits,
Yeah.
and he saw how I used to engage with people, there's always people that surrounding me. I always used to hold court, as I always say, people. I always be surrounded by people, be talking, selling something, nothing but just ideas.
Yes.
And so if that's how a marketer behaves, then you can say, I guess I've been a marketer all my life. But to me, I thought I did well in mathematics and science. So the options were either I become a doctor,
Yeah.
or I do teaching, because I always used to teach,
Yeah.
or I do accounting. But I did accounting because my head boy, deputy head boy around that time, had gone to Wits to study accounting. And he was a head boy, like I became head boy. He was top of the class math and science, a bit like I was number one and number two in that space. And he was number one across his school years, and I was number one across my school years. So I thought, that's what people like that do. So that's why I went to do accounting.
Wow.
And so following what other people like you are doing,
exactly.
instead of following who you are.
Yes.
But I wasn't stressed or nervous. I mean, of course, my first I failed accounting first year, and I passed it second year. But I don't think I failed anyway. Because in June I got 56 for business economics, 69 for accounting, 72 for law. Now during apartheid, those were good scores for black kids.
Wow.
And that's in June. And in December I get 47, 47, 47. I said it's impossible. It's impossible to be equally dumb, in all the subjects.
In all the subjects.
And then but around that time, it was interesting in South Africa, because around that time they used to manage how many people move through
the system.
Through the system, particularly if you're in a white school, because Wits was very white then. So I didn't go to like Treflopo, which were generally the black schools, or the University of Botswana, and end of this I went to Wits University, which was the most prestigious university in the country. And those schools generally, they managed how many people go. And now in accounting was even better, was even worse rather, because when I got to Wits, I think there was only 1,200 black people or people of color, Indian black and colored, in accounting, registered as accountants. The rest of them were all white. And they kept it like that for a long time. It was a very managed and an exclusive, if you will,
system.
Career choice and all those. So to make it so they can't push all of us through. So some of us are going to get 49, 49, 49. I was 48, 48, 48. I got 47, 47, 47.
Which was a magic number for
magic number. How could anybody get the same numbers?
Wow.
It didn't make sense. There are some people, by the way, around that time who used to get 49, 49, 49, 49, 49 for 5 subjects.
Wow.
Because 50 is the pass mark. So they had to keep you just below the pass mark.
Wow. And now, how did you manage it normally in that particular? Because that could also be frustrating, right? Because the effort maybe that you put in and your previous performance.
Yeah, effort and performance. That I was always a number one student.
Yes.
I was I knocked off a little bit? Maybe I knocked off a little bit, but disappointed in me maybe, because maybe I said I live to outperform myself in order to proceed. So I had to outperform myself the following year. And then I took the opportunity to apply for scholarship and left the country. They were lucky those times. I'm looking at now Donald Trump taking away USAID. Some of us are USAID's beneficiaries.
Wow.
Because USAID funded EOC, I think Educational Opportunities Council, which then funded scholarships to go study overseas.
Wow.
So some of us benefited from that.
Yeah. Which is great. And back in the days, how was it for you, especially coming from Kimberley? Now you moved to Joburg, you are in the Vert, and then the next move is to go abroad, which was again something really new to an African youngster.
Well, I was always very strong-willed, always confident, always clear about who I am. So even when I arrived in Joburg, I stood out. I was never intimidated by Johannesburg.
Wow.
I just fitted in to where Joburg is. When I moved to America, it was the same thing. And it sounds crazy, I guess, or maybe self-important when I say so, but I remember specifically, when I arrived in America, the kids used to say, "You are so confident.
You are full of yourself.
You're so full of yourself. This country will humble you." But that's the same thing they told me when I got to Joburg. They said, you're so full of yourself. This city will humble you. But I chose to humble the city rather than the city to humble me.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And with that, and when we look at it, even in the space, because this is quite relevant, where you are always finding this type of imposter syndrome, especially in the youth, even when we're looking at situation like social media and all of it. What are these key things that you believe are very important for the youth of today or anybody today to really overcome this challenge? Because social media really is pushing us to be who you are not.
Who we're not, right?
Yes,
yeah, and there's such a lack of authenticity, as you said now.
Yes.
In society, because we need to live up to other people's ideas about who we should be.
Yes.
I think what we need to do, we need to get back to ourselves. We need to get back to ourselves. We need to understand the values that brought us. Because we all get raised with a certain set of values. So we need to understand what are those values. We need to be authentic, because you see, your values are your foundation. And authenticity ensures that you always stay true to yourself.
Yes.
The mistake that most of us make is because we are living for the other and not living for ourselves. And as a result, we always get tripped. Because you see, if you're not living your best truth, if you're not living your truth, you'll always get tripped because you don't know the other as well.
Yes.
But you know yourself better.
Wow.
So it's about you sticking to who you are, the values that brought you here, your authentic self. That's what will take you through to the next, for me, or rather will take you through the storms and through the valleys and the hills. And social media, of course, is a problem now. It's a problem because we all now have to act like we are not.
Yes.
But many of us always get caught out anyway.
Yeah.
We'll always get caught out if you're not living who you are, and particularly in terms of you can only pretend for so long. We are seeing even in corporate now,
yes,
people get caught out because for maybe 5 years or 10 years or 30 years, they were using fake qualifications.
Yes, yes.
Because they wanted to be who they're not, instead of just going to school and getting the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you get caught. You've seen people 30 years later, they get caught.
Wow.
And some of them, for example, in South Africa now,
yes,
we've seen some executives who've been jailed for fraudulent qualifications.
Wow.
And transacting or pretending to be what they are not.
Yes.
So you always get caught. We may not all end up in jail.
Yes.
But sometimes we'll end up being ostracized by society.
Yes.
Because the shame of being caught out for having been untruthful to yourself is worse than
any job.
It's worse than being yourself.
Yeah.
And the mistake that we make, we think where we are is a problem. Where you are is just a stepping stone to the next.
Wow.
And we have to walk at our own pace because we don't all going to arrive at the same time. Correct. Wherever we're headed. Some of us may be fast movers, others slow movers. But ultimately, we are going to live up. We are going to arrive to what we are destined to be. Because every single one of us is not useless. Every single one of us has got a purpose on this earth.
Wow.
And ultimately, we will reach that purpose if we stay true to who we are and using the values that we raised with as the foundation.
Wow. Wow. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I love the practical side of it. And then coming into purpose, because I know that purpose is really important for us. in terms of purpose, and I really want to connect it to that move from accounting into your field. When you have to define purpose, where you are, how do you define purpose?
I think purpose, finding your purpose,
Yes,
is a process, and I think it takes time. You have to be patient with yourself, but you have to be self-aware, most importantly, because purpose is finding the thing that makes that you would do even if you weren't getting paid, but the thing that you believe that you are made, you're born to be on this earth. That's purpose. Is finding the thing, as Martin Luther King said, unless you find something that you're willing to die for, then you will fall for anything. So purpose is finding that anchor, that eyes on the prize, the one thing that you believe I'm put on the